Welcome to JC Sports. I'm your host, Joe Chap. Today we're gonna be talking about some breaking news that just broke in the NBA for the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons have hired JB Bickerstaff per reports. JB Bickerstaff is a guy who could help this team get back to its prowess. Justin Spiro posted on um, his Twitter account the last 3 years, the Cavaliers finished fifth, first, and seventh in defensive rating. So if nothing else, this team is going to play defense. And if you look over the past couple years, the Pistons have had struggled to play defense. They, got guys like Asar Thompson, who's good at playing defense. Nothing really developed under Monty Williams. And then you look at Dwayne Casey and those defensive teams, those were horrible defensive teams. And they're getting back to their roots. The Pistons are actually doing some great moves for their franchise by making the right move. JB Bickerstaff is a great move no matter how you slice it. I mean, he got fired in Cleveland for reasons that I don't even understand why he got fired. And then you get him in Detroit. JB Bickerstaff is going to bring back a style of play that Pistons fans want to see. They want to see a defensive game. They want to see a team playing hard. You know, if nothing else, if they're not a good offensive team, if they can't shoot, they can play defense. That's the mainstay of the game. So if you could play defense in this NBA, you can win games. And I like the hire. My initial thoughts about the hire is I could see where the Pistons are going right now. I could see what they're doing. JB Bickerstaff being hired to the Detroit Pistons is a good deal. A 5-year deal per reports of James Edwards and in the Athletic. So the Pistons are about to make a hire. What does it mean for the future of the franchise? Obviously, him getting a 5-year deal tells you right off the hop that Trajan Langdon is about to try to transform the franchise in a long, consistent way where they can be consistent. What roster moves are gonna happen is gonna be the what's gonna be the key to this. We've seen some of the roster moves already. They've taken on salary of Tim Hardaway and Wendell Moore, and they drafted Ron Holland who and Bobby Clintman, who could be really good players down the stretch. They also gained 3 picks. I think that picks is gonna go up. And like I said in an earlier video, if the Detroit Pistons are going to be that serious team, them hoarding draft capital, getting draft capital is the key to their success. So we will see what happens. Obviously, this is just breaking, so I wanted to get this out to the people. JB Bickerstaff is going to be hired as the Pistons head coach, and what a great hire it is. You can't get much better than a guy who has coached 3 great defensive teams in the NBA, young defensive teams, might I add. The Cleveland Cavaliers aren't there's I mean, Donovan Mitchell is probably their older statesman in terms of the NBA, but all in all, like, they're not an older team. So getting a younger team to play defense in the NBA is palatable, and that's what you want. And he's going to be joining the Pistons and going against the Cavs because they're going to be in the same division. And it's a great hire. It's a great hire for the Pistons. The Pistons are finally doing things that I didn't think they would be able to do. They got a general manager who is actually putting emphasis on getting draft capital. They're getting a coach whose emphasis is on defensive basketball. When you do that, everything is set up for you to be a successful team. And I know they're early in the rebuild of the rebuild. We talked about in the last video. The Pistons rebuilt the rebuild. The Lions rebuilt the rebuild with Bob Quinn to Brad Holmes. You had uh, you had the Pistons with Troy Weaver to Trajan Langdon. The Red Wings with Ken Holland to Steve Eisman, and then Al Avila to Scott Harris. It's been rebuild city in Detroit, but you can finally feel there's some promise with Eiserman, Langdon, and obviously Brad Holmes is in another stratosphere. But this is a good time. We'll see what Scott Harris does, but this is a great hire for the Pistons, and they are actually making some moves that is actually respectable. We'll see you guys in the next video as we talk more Detroit Pistons basketball, because when this gets announced, we'll talk about what's going on with the Pistons and what it means. So stay tuned to JC Sports for more, and we will talk to you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.